There are over 5,000 confirmed planets outside our solar system, and according to the physics of planetary formation, the equations we use, the models we trust, the textbooks written by Nobel laureates, most of them should not be there. We have a theory for how planets form. A star ignites inside a collapsing cloud of gas and dust. What remains spins into a disk. Material in the disk clumps. Rocks become boulders. Boulders become worlds. The process is governed by temperature, gravity, and time. It is orderly. It is predictable. It is, according to our best physics, the only way planets can exist. Then we built telescopes powerful enough to see what is actually out there. What we found broke the model overnight. Gas giants orbiting inside their own star's former radius. Rocky planets where the surface is a magma ocean burning at 2,000 degrees. Planets orbiting backwards. Planets orbiting dead stars. Planets being consumed in real time. Planets at distances so extreme they barely belong to their own solar system. In this investigation, we are going to count down 10 planets that should not exist according to physics, starting with the discovery that 2 astronomers made in 1995 that earned them a Nobel Prize and destroyed everything we thought we knew about how solar systems are built. Number 10. The planet that broke planetary science overnight. Number 10. 51 Pegasi. B. In 1995, 2 Swiss astronomers named Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz detected something that made the scientific community stop cold. A planet, a gas giant roughly half the mass of Jupiter, orbiting its star in 4 days. Here's the problem. We have a precise theory for where gas giants can form. It is called the frost line. At roughly 3 to 5 times the distance from Earth to the Sun, temperatures are cold enough for water ice and ammonia to solidify into grains. Those grains are the building material for gas giant cores. Without them, you cannot assemble enough solid mass to begin pulling in a gas envelope. A gas giant cannot form inside the frost line. 51 Pegasi b orbits at 1/13th the distance from Earth to the Sun, 7.5 times closer to its star than Mercury is to ours, deep inside the zone where gas giants simply cannot be built. Mayor and Queloz were awarded the 2019 Nobel Prize in Physics for this discovery. The citation noted that the finding revolutionized our understanding of planetary systems. What it actually did was reveal that roughly 1% of all Sun-like stars host a planet like this one. This is not a freak anomaly, it is a category. Planet formation theory is broken everywhere we look, but a planet in the wrong orbit is almost logical compared to what comes next. Number 9. Coconuts. 2b orbits its star at a distance of 6,471 astronomical units. 1 astronomical unit is the distance from Earth to the Sun. Neptune orbits at 30, the hypothetical planet. 9, if it exists, at perhaps 3 to 1,000. Coconuts. 2b is at 6,471. It takes more than 1 million years to complete a single orbit. Here's why this violates physics. Planets form from disks of gas and dust surrounding young stars. Those disks have a finite size. Around a small red dwarf like Coconut's 2b's host, that disk extends to a maximum of perhaps 200 astronomical units. Coconut's 2b orbits at 6,471. There was never a disk there. There was never any material there. A gas giant cannot form at this distance. It may be a gravitational capture, a body stolen from another solar system during a close encounter between 2 stars. The probability of such a capture producing a stable orbit is extraordinarily small. Coconuts. 2b may not belong to its star at all. It may be a refugee, drifting at the edge of gravitational ownership, barely held. A planet can be lost from its own solar system. But what happens to planets when the star itself is destroyed? Number 8. Number 8. PSRB 1257 plus 12. In January 1992, astronomer Alexander Volsjan announced the discovery of the first confirmed planets outside our solar system, 3 worlds 600 light-years away. The reaction from the scientific community was not celebration, it was alarm, because these planets orbit a pulsar. A pulsar is a neutron star, the spinning remnant of a massive star that destroyed itself in a supernova explosion. To create this pulsar, the original star collapsed and detonated, releasing 10 to the power of 44 joules of energy in seconds. That is the Sun's total energy output over 10 billion years, compressed into a moment. The explosion traveled outward at tens of thousands of kilometers per second. The star lost half its mass almost instantaneously. Any planet orbiting this star before the supernova was vaporized, the shockwave would have stripped any survivor away. Even if something kept its orbit, the sudden mass loss would have destabilized every trajectory in the system. 3 planets remain. Either these worlds survived an event that should have made survival physically impossible, for which no mechanism exists, or they formed afterward, built from the disk of radioactive debris left in the supernova's wake, requiring a planet formation pathway so alien to our models that it amounts to a different theory entirely. These 3 worlds are the first exoplanets ever confirmed. They should not exist. Number 7. WASP-17b. Planets form from rotating disks. The disk spins in a direction. The star spins in the same direction. Planets orbit in the same direction. This is conservation of angular momentum. One of the most fundamental laws in physics. Every planet in our solar system orbits the Sun in the direction the Sun rotates. Every planet in every solar system should do the same. WASP-17. B orbits its star backwards. Discovered in 2009, WASP-17b completes an orbit every 3.7 days in the opposite direction to its host star's rotation. There is no mechanism within standard planetary formation that produces a retrograde orbit. Something hit this planet or passed close enough after its formation. A gravitational catastrophe violent enough to flip its entire orbital direction. That event left no trace, no second planet, no debris, no record of the collision. This is not the only impossibility. WASP-17. B is nearly twice Jupiter's radius, despite having roughly Saturn's density, inflated beyond what irradiation models predict. In 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope found quartz nanoparticles in its atmosphere, glass clouds, on a planet orbiting backwards at over 1,000 degrees. WASP-17. B defies formation physics, defies atmospheric models, and orbits in the wrong direction through all of it. Number 6 was dragged to its death. Number 6. WD1145 plus 017. Stars like our Sun, when they die, swell into red giants 100 times their original size, then collapse, leaving behind a hot, dense remnant called a white dwarf. Anything orbiting close to the star during its giant phase is engulfed, vaporized. WD1145 plus 017 is a white dwarf, and something is orbiting it at a distance that, during this star's red giant phase, would have been deep inside the stellar envelope. Discovered in 2015 using Kepler Space Telescope data, this system shows multiple debris clouds orbiting the white dwarf every 4.5 hours. Transit depths vary from 10% to 60% of the star's light, changing shape each time because the object producing them is actively disintegrating. Something rocky is being shredded by tidal force in real time. The white dwarf's atmosphere contains calcium, magnesium, and iron. In white dwarf conditions, heavy elements sink out of the upper atmosphere in days. These metals are being continuously replenished, actively accreted from the fragmenting body above. This rocky object was dragged inward from the outer system after the star was already dead, pulled past the Roche limit, the boundary where tidal forces overcome self-gravity, and is now being dismantled piece by piece. Something brought it here after the star died. We do not know what. Number 5 was also placed somewhere it had no business being. Number 5. Kepler-78b. In 2013, 2 independent research teams published simultaneous papers in Nature describing a planet so contrary to planetary formation theory that both arrived at the same conclusion independently. Quote, "We don't know how Kepler-78b formed, and we don't know how it ended up where it is. Kepler-78b is a rocky world, slightly larger and denser than Earth. It orbits its host star in 8.5 hours. It sits at 40 times the closeness of Mercury to our Sun. Problem 1, it cannot have formed there. When this star was young, its radius extended past where Kepler-78b now orbits. The planet would have been inside stellar plasma during the period when planets form. There was no disk, no material, only the outer layers of a star. Problem 2, it cannot have migrated there. The tidal forces at this distance are so intense that any inward migration would have ended with the planet falling into the star. Kepler-78b occupies what astrophysicists call the forbidden zone, the region where planets cannot arrive and remain. Its surface is approximately 2,300 degrees Celsius. The rock beneath its feet is molten. It violates formation theory and migration theory simultaneously. It is a double impossibility. Number 4 is a different kind of impossibility. Number 4 is what gets left behind. Number 4, TOI 849b. There is a region around close orbiting stars where Neptune-sized planets almost never exist. Astronomers call it the hot Neptune desert. Intense stellar radiation evaporates the gas envelopes of medium-sized planets at close distances. What survives is the rocky remnant, too small to have accumulated much gas in the first place. TOI 849b sits in the middle of the hot Neptune desert. Its size, 3.44 Earth radii, places it squarely in Neptune territory. Its mass is 40.8 Earth masses, more than twice Neptune's. Here is the problem. A 40 Earth mass core should have pulled in hundreds of Earth masses of hydrogen and helium as it grew. At this mass, gravity is strong enough. The core should have become a gas giant. It should be enormous. It has no gas envelope. It is a bare, dense core. What Armstrong et al. Described in 2020 as the remnant core of a giant planet, sitting in a physically unexpected region of parameter space. No evaporation mechanism we know of can strip a 40 Earth mass core of its gas entirely. Something dismantled a would-be gas giant and left only the skeleton. We do not know what. Number 3 shows us that process happening right now. Number 3. WASP-12b. WASP-12b orbits its host star in 1.09 days. It sits at a distance of 3.4 million kilometers, 5 stellar radii from the star's surface. At this distance, tidal forces stretch the planet into an elongated egg shape. Its outer atmosphere has expanded past the Roche lobe, the gravitational boundary within which material belongs to the planet rather than the star. Gas is streaming from WASP-12b directly onto its host star. In 2010, Hubble Space Telescope ultraviolet observations detected the envelope of stripped material surrounding this planet, a comet-like shroud of evaporating atmosphere being accreted by the star. The mass loss rate is approximately 6 times 10 to the 11th grams per second. In 2020, ground-based observations confirmed that WASP-12b's orbital period is measurably shrinking, by 29 milliseconds per year. This is orbital decay in real time. The planet is spiraling inward. At current rates, WASP-12b will be completely consumed by its host star in approximately 3 million years. We are watching a planet die. Its orbit shrinks every year. Its mass decreases every second. In 3 million years, a geological moment, it will be gone. We exist at the precise instant this world is in its death spiral. Number 2 shows us that the atmospheres of dying worlds are only the beginning of what physics allows. Number 2. WASP-76. Iron melts at 1,538 degrees Celsius. It boils at 2,862 degrees. These are extreme industrial temperatures on Earth. On WASP-76b, they are weather. WASP-76b is an ultra-hot Jupiter completing an orbit every 1.8 days. It is tidally locked. The same hemisphere always faces its star. The dayside temperature reaches approximately 2,500 degrees Celsius, near iron's boiling point. In 2020, David Ehrenreich and colleagues used the espresso spectrograph on the Very Large Telescope to observe WASP-76b during transit. They found a chemical asymmetry. Iron vapor was abundant on the evening limb, the boundary where the dayside becomes the night side, absent on the morning limb. The conclusion: on the dayside, temperatures vaporize iron. Winds traveling at 5 kilometers per second, 14 times the speed of sound on Earth, carry iron vapor to the night side. There, at 1,500 degrees, it condenses and falls. Liquid iron droplets precipitate from the atmosphere on WASP-76b's night side. It rains iron. The temperature differential between the two hemispheres of a single planet spans the gap between iron vaporization and iron precipitation. Our atmospheric models did not predict this. The extremes are too great, but none of it, not the death spiral, not the iron rain, not the pulsar planets, or the backwards orbit, or the impossible rocky world, comes close to the impossibility of number 1. Number 1 is the planet you have never once had cause to doubt. Number 1. Earth. Physics says planets like this one should be extraordinarily rare. Begin with architecture. The inward migration that produces hot Jupiters, gas giants driven close to their stars, occurs in a significant fraction of planetary systems. Simulations by Badagian and Laughlin, published in 2015, show that a Jupiter migrating to 1.5 times Earth's orbital distance would have swept every inner rocky planet from the system entirely. Earth would not have formed. Our Jupiter did not migrate. This is not guaranteed by any law. it is an outcome. Then, consider the Moon. It formed when a Mars-sized body called Theia struck the early Earth at a specific oblique angle and velocity. The impact parameters required to produce a moon of the correct mass and composition are tightly constrained, as shown in simulations by Canup in 2012. Slightly different angle, slightly different mass, no moon. In 1993, Jacques Lascar and colleagues published simulations in Nature showing that without the moon's gravitational stabilization, Earth's axial tilt would vary chaotically between 0 and 85 degrees on million-year timescales. At 85 degrees, Earth's poles face nearly directly toward the Sun. Climate becomes catastrophic. With the Moon, Earth's tilt varies between 22 and 24.5 degrees. Stable seasons, stable biology. Jupiter had to not migrate. Theia had to strike at the right angle. The Moon had to be massive enough to stabilize the tilt. Each event was near impossible. All three occurred in sequence on the same planet. Ward and Brownlee estimated the probability of an Earth-like planet in a Sun-like system in the galactic habitable zone at less than 1/10 of 1%. We are not the default outcome of planetary physics. We are the exception the equations failed to predict. These 10 planets are not curiosities. They are evidence. Every one of them was found by applying physics correctly, pointing telescopes at the sky, measuring what came back, and trusting the data. And everyone returned an answer that physics said was impossible. The nebular hypothesis says gas giants cannot form inside the frost line. FIAMT 51 Pegasi b exists. Conservation of angular momentum says planets cannot orbit backwards. WASP 17 b orbits backwards. Supernova physics says no planet survives stellar death. 3 planets orbit a pulsar. Standard atmospheric models say iron cannot precipitate from a sky. WASP 76b rains iron every night. Every principle we wrote about how planets form, where they can exist, and how long they survive has been broken by something we found simply by looking, which means the principles are incomplete, which means the universe is operating by a physics we have not fully written down, which means the thousands of planets we have not yet examined in detail are holding their own impossibilities, waiting for a telescope powerful enough to find them. We are not living in a universe we understand. We are living inside the evidence that we don't. And the most impossible planet of all, formed only because of an improbable impact, stabilized only by an improbable moon, spared only because a gas giant stopped moving at the precise right moment, is the one you have never once had reason to question. Until now.